Hey, I'm Krista Wax. You're listening to Right on Radio here on KFAI, and I am joined by the fabulous Tasha Coryell. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for taking time to talk about your writing. I'm so excited to get into this conversation and talk about your writing. How how are things going? You doing all right?
Yeah, things are pretty good. It's been a tough winter. I had a baby in the beginning of September, and so I'm like kind of finding myself again. I'm like working on my next book. I'm like relearning how to run. So we're finding myself as a human outside of having a baby.
I don't have any kids, but I all my friends do. So I understand that process of being part of it. So welcome back to life and congratulations on your baby.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about I just can't wait to talk to you about it. We're going to talk about matchmaking for psychopaths. This book. Uh This book was so amazing, and I'm worried that either I'm going to take an hour to talk about how the plot, or I'm going to give it all away. So, if you could please provide just a little synopsis about what this book is about.
Yeah, so the book is about a woman who is a matchmaker, and at the beginning of the book, she is engaged and she shows up to her birthday dinner and she finds out that her fiance is leaving her for her best friend. So she experiences this massive betrayal, and it's like extra embarrassing because she's a matchmaker and she compares it to, like, if you're a dentist and you get cavities, and like how embarrassing that is, right? Because she's supposed to be an expert in finding love. And if she can't match herself correctly, how is she supposed to match other people? So she does not take the news very well, as most people don't. And she keeps it a secret because she's like, oh, I'll get my fiance back. And in the meantime, she gets a little bit too involved with some of her clientele who have traits of psychopaths. And then these packages start showing up at her house that contain body parts. And she's like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Are these from my clients who are psychopaths? Are these from my mysterious mother? Are these from my ex best friend? What's going on? Whose body is this? So she's trying to find love and untangle this mystery of the body parts and deal with her family. Juggling a lot of things, as we all do.
Right. Yeah, typical things that everyone handles. This there I know I can't even speak. I There are so many great layers to this book, and it was so twisty in such a lovely, lovely twisty way. The way I love a twist. And these characters are so rich in just the psychopaths, our main character, her past. How how did this come to be? How did we get all these layers? They're so great.
It was a long journey. So writing the first draft happened really quickly, but the first draft is really different from the final draft. I feel like every draft, the like twist changed, a layer was added or layers are removed. In the early draft, one of the things that I had to tell myself was like, okay, don't restrain yourself and be like, no, that's too much. Because, like, if something is too much, I was like, the editors will tell you that it's too much. So I just like let myself write what I wanted to write or what seemed natural. And so things changed a lot. I think I had five drafts before I wrote what became the final one. And so it took a lot of work to figure out, okay, like what do reveal when, what actually happens, like who who are the suspects, like how do we interweave this part with her parents. Yeah, so there's a lot going on and it took a lot of drafts to get there and make it make sense.
Wow. I mean, I can only imagine. Are you the type of writer that just you kind of you went, I mean, since it you just said there were a bunch of drafts, but this original outline was this, I mean, how well planned out was that? I mean, I know things changed over the drafts, but what
I'm not a big outliner in general. Like I prefer to just have like a general overview and then just sort of write and see what happens. For my next book, I did have to write an outline in order to get the book deal. Like that was part of the process because I didn't have the book written. And so in the very initial draft, I followed the outline pretty closely, but then it immediately changed because I sent it to my agent and she was like, "Oh, I think we should actually change all of these things." And I was like, "Okay." And so now I'm on like the third draft and things are completely different from that outline. So I think even when I do have an outline, things change a lot. And I think that's part of the process. I think for a lot of people, when they think about writing, they're like, oh, writing the novel, I sit down and write the novel and then it's over. Well, that's not really my experience of writing a novel. I think of it as being like a recursive process where you go back to the beginning again and again. And every time things change. And I think that that makes the novel better, but it also is a good way of like thinking about feedback. Like I get feedback from my editors, I get feedback from my agent, and I think sometimes getting all that feedback can be hard, but when you think of it being like generative, where you're creating this new, better thing, it becomes exciting rather than like soul crushing.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. How did you, I mean, okay, so reality TV is just kind of a not it's a little subplot through. I mean, no one's on a reality show, but our main character loves reality TV. Is this also a part of you? Is this a little part of you in the book?
Yeah, I'm just like trying to figure out. So at the time this is being taped, all of the summer house drama between Amanda Batula and
Yeah.
West Wilson is going down. And I'm like, if you like that kind of drama, this book is for you. So like I was talking with my editors about when we were coming up with ideas for the book. And that was like we weren't that far removed from Scandival at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I just want to capture that kind of drama and fun and excitement. And I know it's not fun for the people involved. Like I know that these are real people's lives, but like I have to admit that there's a lot going on in the world right now. I have two young kids. Life is pretty stressful and this summer house drama is happening and I'm just like I'm having a great time. I'm like sending DMs. I like my agent watches Bravo shows too. We're like talking about it and I'm like updating my husband and it's so fun and I really wanted to capture that in the book. And so I think in various drafts, there was more or less reality television show present. But one of the things that I really wanted to capture was like how, when you're an adult, being involved in these reality show fan bases or in these shows, it almost feels like you're part of the friend group in the show itself. And you like kind of wish that your life had some of those elements. Like, I don't go on fancy vacations with my friends. Do I wish that a friend would call me up and be like, I planned a trip to Italy for us? Yeah. Like, why do none of my friends do this? I mean, they're not wealthy, is a big one. But like I watch these shows and they have these fake friend groups, but as an adult it's so hard to like see your friends. Like it takes like weeks somehow to make plans with people when you're in your 30s. And so I find friendship through Bravo. I find camaraderie. I talk about my friends with these things because they're also watching the shows. And I think that's true for a lot of people, is that there's like this real sense of community. And there's also a sense of like learning what people are and what people do and how they behave and like what is good or right or wrong. Like the Bravo fan base is very judgy,
Right.
for better or for worse.
Yes. Yes, I am a Bravo girl as well. And yes, my friends and I are clocked in on this Amanda West situation and doing all this, sending memes, sending all the things that we're finding any evidence
Oh
of
yeah, we're all
too.
detectives now. My my favorite post was before Amanda and West posted their joint statement, or like the same joint statement. Yeah. Is someone was like, "Oh, I found out that Soft Bar has a running group. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get to the bottom of this." And I was like, this is investigative journalism. Like journalism has been so eroded. Like newspapers are just struggling, but we have these Bravo crusaders out here and they are getting the truth. And if we had this kind of journalism about like anything else, like, it could change the world.
The world's problems would be solved because we'd figure
Yes.
it all out. We have it all figured out. Exactly. I know people are, I mean, I know I don't have to do too much of a deep dive on my own. Like, I'm not going to go back and watch more Summer House and try to see the lines, but I mean, because everyone else is doing that. A lot of people are doing that work. Thank you for all the work they're all doing and then posting it. And then it's, oh, they touched hands kind of briefly in the hallway. And I'm like, thank you for slowing down that video.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen that video. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I love that you know what I'm talking about. That's perfect. Yes. So, so the idea of Lexi being a matchmaker, was that kind of based off of Millionaire Matchmaker at all?
No,
Okay.
again, it goes back to the reality television component where like I was talking with my editors and it was like, well, what's like really in, what's really popular? And I also watched like Love is Blind. And I was like, people really like these dating shows and Love Island. And so I was like, what if we had something about a matchmaker? And then one of my editors, who actually just had a book come out this year herself, The X's, she suggested that what if she's a matchmaker for psychopaths?
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, genius. I love that layer. I love that. I love that element. I just was re-binging Millionaire Matchmaker, and that's where it came from. Like, I mean, some of that show has not held up that well, but overall, it's still very fun to watch. Early Bravo, early Bravo stuff. So let's talk a little bit about your other book, too, Love Letters to a Serial Killer. Also a fantastic book as well. Could you oblige me, please, with a synopsis?
Yeah. So in that book, Hannah is working at a nonprofit and she's pretty dissatisfied with how her life is going. And she becomes obsessed with a true crime case, and they find out who they think the killer is. And while he's in jail awaiting trial, she starts writing him letters, and she goes from being like, oh, I'm investigating, to like, oh, I'm in love with this person who's accused of being a serial killer. And she ends up like giving her entire life to fly to attend the trial with this man that she's in love with, and they start a relationship, and she has to figure out like whether or not he's actually the serial killer. And then there's also the question of like, does she want him to be a serial killer? Like, is she in love with him for who he is, or is she in love with him because he's a serial killer?
I love that book so much. I met up with a friend. I was about halfway through it, and I knew I had to tell her about it. I said, "You have to get this book. I know this is a book for you too, and we're going to talk about later. And I cannot wait till you talk about. You got to read this book now." But I knew at that. I mean, yeah, it captured me right away. I thought it was such a fun. ride as well. Fun little twisty ride with not just twisty, but also very there's some sharp turns towards the end, everything just like matchmaking for psychopaths too. Just really great books. They're really fun. I really enjoy them.
Yeah, and like fun is my goal in writing. I think I had a moment where I realized that I'm not the person who's going to write like the great American novel as like a drama or like a Pulitzer Prize winner. Like I was like I want to write fun books that people like, they get to the end of a long day and they're like, wow, this is enjoyable. Like we were talking about Bravo TV shows. I want to like write the thing that like you get through all of the like stupid tasks that you have to do on loop, and you're like, okay, how do I unwind my brain, how do I feel better? And so I want to write the type of book that you turn to in those moments and you're like, wow, that was a good time.
Yeah. Mission accomplished, Tasha. They're both great books. They're both fun rides, which I would highly recommend to anyone on those. What can you tell us anything? You're hinting at a third book. What can you tell us?
I Okay, I honestly don't know what I'm allowed to tell
Okay,
people
that's
because
okay.
I am writing a third book. I can definitely say that it's in the same genre as Love Letters to a Serial Killer and Matchmaking for Psychopaths. Like there's like murder and kissing and complicated family dynamics and like some hot people that shouldn't be hot and then like hot people that maybe are bad.
Okay.
So I can say that much. I don't know what else I'm allowed. Every time I'm asked that question, I'm like, oh wow, I really should ask like what I'm allowed to reveal at this point. But it's coming out in 2027.
Okay. Well, that's good. We'll take that. I'll take
Yeah,
that. I allow that. And I'm
yeah,
glad it's still in the same family, so to
yeah,
speak.
yes.
You're not switching up to, I don't know, historical fiction. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Or if there's an element in that book, that's fine too. That was the first thing that came to mind. Is there anything that you find surprising about being an author, or like what has this experience been like?
The thing that surprised me the most about being a writer is you would think that like writing the books is the hardest part. But I think that the hardest part is actually coming up with the idea for the next book. Like that's always the struggle. Like I really love to write novels. I feel like I could write a million novels. It's the coming up with the idea. Like, and you have to come up with the right idea at the right time. And so for like when I was coming up with ideas for matchmaking for psychopaths, it took much longer to settle on an idea that like my editors and my agent liked than it did to actually write a draft of the book. Like it takes so much longer to do that part, which was really surprising to me. And it's not a situation where like my editors are telling me what to write. Like I have to come up with the ideas of my own. But they will veto an idea like if they're like no, that's not the right idea for right now. uh so I came up with so many ideas. I don't even know how many. Like there's so much work that goes into brainstorming ideas. It's not just like, oh, I have an idea, let me write this book. It's like, no, this is a long process where we're trying to figure out what is the right book for right now that will get people's attention, that they want to read, that will sell, hopefully.
Yeah, that must be a big process and a lot and a huge team effort as well. A lot on your
Yeah, it's
end, but yeah.
it's a lot of discussions about like the things that people are really into and the things that people are thinking about.
Okay. Wow. Well, I appreciate all that you've done for books. and writing. That's not good. That didn't come out right, but you know what I mean? I appreciate your all your hard work and